Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Brandon. Welcome to Audio Addiction, where you can find latest album reviews. You can find our band interviews, and you can find live coverage of the content that we get. I've been posting a ton of stuff, so if you aren't familiar with the channel, make sure to subscribe, hit that thumbs up, and share it if you feel so inclined. I'll be doing a few more album reviews coming in the next couple days, so definitely keep your eyes peeled. And then I have some ones that I've been keeping in the backlog that I'm excited to get out to you guys as well. But tonight we're going to be talking about These 5 Years' newest EP, This Could All Be So Easy.
So am I disappointing you? Or do I make you proud? Maybe if I just give myself a little break, a little time to compensate and the lies.
So for those of you who aren't familiar with this band, they are a band from the UK. They are pop punk, like emo alternative, and I've had them on to do an interview a while ago. We actually had met over the internet, much like anything this time, this year, or just in the 21st century. But I was really excited to have them on again, where we did another interview that will be going out a little bit later on. But they have a new EP coming out, which they asked me to review. So definitely give this band a listen, and some of the bands that I might mention throughout this review might be bands that you might also like as well, so definitely check out their music if you feel so inclined as well. But I'm going to go through each track, give you my thoughts and opinions on it, go through some pros and cons, and then finish it out with an overall rating. So the first track is called Better the Devil, and this one is my favorite one. I love that it has kind of a strong mix of the Wonder Years and Trash Boat, two bands that I really love a lot. I would say Trash Boat more currently because they've been putting out a lot of material, but I really enjoyed the Wonder Years last record as well, and so I feel like they draw a lot of influence from them. And I know that when I had them on to interview a couple times, I know that they had cited both of those bands as influences, so you can definitely hear it in their writing style. And again, much like most pop punk bands, this one has some really awesome energy to it. I think you can definitely hear a lot of the emotion behind what they're writing. I know that that is a common thing that most reviewers say in reviews, but I honestly truly feel like there is just something else about how they write and just how emotional it makes me kind of get in certain songs. I can kind of attribute that to Like Pacific, which is one of my favorite pop punk bands who I'm repping right now. But it's cool to hear that influence. It's cool to hear that kind of emotion, and I don't think that it really takes away from the vibe of the song, but I feel like it is also kind of a good forethought for those that are read into it a little bit more, read the lyrics. You can hear a lot of the, again, emotional backing behind it. I also like there's a good amount of harmonies as well. I think Joel and Carl offer some really awesome vocal lines, and they are featured prominently through a lot of the different songs, which is really cool because I feel like with pop punk and just bands in general, if you have somebody else doing vocals, they can kind of be put to the sideline and maybe not utilized to their fullest potential. And I feel like not only with this song, but with a majority of the songs off of this EP, they just sound awesome together, and they all have their unique kind of sound to them. So it's really cool, and again, I hope that they utilize that in the future. Also, something that I thought was also very interesting and that we kind of touched upon in the interview was that Harry does kind of a little bit of some spoken word parts. It's more particular to the end of this track, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was something that, again, when I first listened to it, I maybe didn't get it, but as I had listened to the EP more and more, it was something that I felt like really worked with the writing style and just kind of how emotionally evoked a lot of their stuff is. I feel like it works in their lane, and so definitely I got to give Harry props for doing that. I know I couldn't do it myself, so I got to give credit where credit is due. I love the chorus in this track. It's probably my favorite part of the song, if I had to be particular. But again, a great opener track to get you kind of started off on the record. So we're going to move into track number 2, which is Enclosure. This is the first single that they released. I believe they released a music video with that. Somebody can quantify that for me or clarify that, but this one is super catchy. It's probably one of the more catchier tracks off the record, and again, keeping with this sort of similar theme, I love the chorus in this track. It's probably my favorite part of the song as well. And I like that, again, as I had mentioned prior, Joel and Carl and Harry kind of share their own vocal duties. They all have their kind of unique sound to them. And I think it brings a lot of diversity to their songs. I would say more particularly this song. They are all pretty much highlighted throughout. And if there are some that I may have gotten wrong, that could definitely be explained, but I felt like there was, three different kind of vocal styles, so I've almost assumed that there was three different vocal parts. But I think it does an awesome job of highlighting everybody and their kind of vocal skills, what they can do, what the other person can do better, and what they can kind of do together to, use up their abilities well. I think this song is extremely well written and well arranged. I think this is a great single track to get out there to everybody, but definitely one that I think is a strong one. I think the first two songs are definitely the strongest off the record. So we're going to move into track number 3, which is I Hope You Know. This one to me has more of a state champ sort of vibe, so definitely more high energy, more on the pop punk leaning side. I felt like the first two, while they are very much pop punk, I feel like they draw a lot of influence from emo as well. But I think the biggest highlight of this song is definitely Jason's drumming. It was something that I wasn't expecting, but some of the stuff that he does drumming wise is really sick on this track. Just kind of the quick fills, kind of the different rhythmic patterns that he chooses for certain parts of the song, I think really stand out. And it's one of those things that as I'm listening to it more and more, I felt like that was something that was very strong right out the gate every time I had listened to it. And again, I don't believe that Harry is singing on this one. I think it is either, like I said, Joel or Carl singing on this track and taking kind of more of the full reins, which is really cool. If it is you, Harry, that is very impressive because the lower range is awesome. I think it's very tight, and something that I just don't hear a lot. So I do like when I get the chance to hear it, especially when it's executed so well. So we're going to move into track number 4, which is Landing Lights. This one's one of my favorites as well. I think this one definitely grew on me. It wasn't one that initially kind of struck me right out the gate, but as I had kept listening to it, I really fell deeper and deeper into this one. I love the lead guitar melody. I think it was really nice, and I think it was good utilization of it as well. I mean, you don't really get to hear that too often in sort of pop punk music, but I do like when there is some more distinct lead parts in a song. Definitely my favorite chorus. I think even more so than Better the Devil and Enclosure. I think this one definitely blows those two out of the water and is by far my favorite off the record in general. But I definitely feel like it's one of those ones that is going to get stuck in my head, one of those ones that is just memorable, and I think that's definitely a good thing if you're a fan of that type of music. It's one of those things that I'll remember without a doubt. I love the switch up in the second verse. I think is more brought on by Jason, their drummer. They did some interesting sort of rhythmic patterns to kind of switch up the second verse, which I again thought was very awesome. And the bridge was super tight. I love the sort of spoken word bits done by Harry as well. And there's kind of almost like a breakdown part, which I think is really tight. I think the stops are super cool. The way that they kind of arranged it, I thought was very interesting and was, again, kind of out of left field. But I know that Jason had said that he borrows a lot from like more progressive music, so you can definitely hear that kind of influence in that part. So it was really, again, out of left field, but I think it definitely works with the vibe of the song and just the overall feeling of the song as well. So we're going to move into track number 5, which is Mea Culpa. This one feels very much in the vein of like Pacific, Trash Boat. If you're into those two bands, I feel like you'll definitely dig this track. It's fairly straightforward. I don't think there is anything too out of the ordinary, out of place in this track. I think it's executed well, but it wasn't one of those songs that I felt like stuck out to me in that sort of way. Instrumentally or vocally, I think they, again, were both very solid, but nothing too too crazy that I felt like needed to be pointed out. So we're gonna move into the last track, track number 6, which is Feathers. I do like that Mia Culpa kind of bleeds into Feathers. I thought that was very neat, and I would love to hear more of that, where it feels a little bit more natural in the transitions. But this one is kind of a 180. I would say it's definitely the black sheep of the record. It has more of a melodic nature to it, and it's definitely a nice change of pace from the more emo pop punk stuff. It feels very ethereal. It has a really great ambience to it as well, and for being a soft song, I think it works well. I think it's something that they will have to kind of expound upon, maybe in either a future EP or a future full length. I would love to hear kind of more of a forethought on this one. I think they were going definitely down the right path, but I don't feel like it was fully conceived, in my opinion. I was really kind of expecting it to not work, honestly, but in general, I wasn't too harsh on it. I thought it worked in the kind of confines of the EP. And I like the one thing that I really enjoyed about it was just kind of the diversity of vocal range. When the songs are so kind of soft and more reserved, I feel like you get to hear more of just the kind of raw natural vibes of a vocalist, whether it be the lead vocalist, the backup vocalist. I think you get kind of a full gambit of the sounds, and I feel like you definitely got that in this track. So some pros and cons that I have about the record. I'll go through the cons first. I feel like at some point some of the songs felt very much in line with who they're influenced by, and while that sometimes is a good thing, it also can be a bad thing where you can definitely be mistaken for some of those other bands. I don't think it's too egregious to the point where I feel like they are like copying them, but you can definitely tell the influence, and at some points I felt like it was kind of getting close to that gray area where it feels very much like the band that they're influenced by, but maybe a little bit too much in that sense. And also, as I had mentioned only a few minutes ago, I feel like they need to definitely bring out more of the softer side. I realize that this isn't an EP, so maybe they didn't have the time to kind of fully conceive a song like that, but I love to hear kind of the way that they would go about something like that. I feel like there's just little hints of that in Feathers, but I'd again like to have more of a conceived idea at the end of the day, maybe next time on a next EP or a next full length. But some pros that I definitely have about this is vocally, I think it is very solid all around. I think all three of their vocalists, Joel, Carl, and Harry, I think all have merit to their voices, and I also feel like they all have different tonalities to them and different timbre to them that I feel like a lot of other artists definitely could not be mistaken for, which is awesome. And in certain parts, I felt like they did things differently. I think some standout tracks to me, Landing Light, especially that bridge portion, I think they really did a nice change up. It was something that I wasn't expecting, and it was kind of out of left field. Better the Devil and Enclosure, I feel like those two are definitely the more solid tracks off the record, without a doubt. And I think there are definitely some glimpses of genius in here, like I had mentioned before with the favorites that I liked. I feel like those tracks definitely have a good basis for what they're doing, but I'd love to hear them kind of expound upon their ideas further in a future release. But overall, I think it's a very solid record. I believe this isn't their first release, but I think for what they're doing now, and as they grow and evolve, I like the stance that they're at now. But I'd love to hear definitely more of an idea expansion in further releases. So my overall rating for these 5 years, this could all be so easy. I'm going to be giving it a 9.3 out of 10. Definitely one you should check out if you're a fan of the bands that I mentioned before. The Wonder Years, Trash Boat, a little bit of State Champs here and there, like Pacific. If you enjoy those bands, you'll definitely find a lot of love in this band, and you should go give them a listen. Links will be in the description where you can find out about these 5 years. You should go give them a listen, go give them some love. And the EP comes out this Friday, so much love to them for sending it over a little bit early, and I wanted to show some love to them as well. So if you enjoyed this review, let me know what your favorites are in the comments below. If you agree, if you disagree, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, especially if you're in the band. I'd love to hear what you thought about it, at least what you thought about my opinion as well. And so if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, hit that thumbs up, share it. It goes a long way. And like I said, my name is Brandon. We hope you got your fix, and we'll be talking with you soon. Peace. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com, and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.